What's up, desktoppers? In this video, I'm discussing whether Wesley Vissers of Vintage Genetics can win the Classic Physique Mr. Olympia, and is he best suited to the Classic Physique class, or would he be better off moving up to open bodybuilding? I discuss all that and more in this video coming up, and if you guys like these videos, give me a thumbs up, also subscribe, hit that notification bell button. It helps me out a whole lot, and that way you'll be notified of every video that goes up for myself, Xavier Wills at Desktop Bodybuilding. Anyway guys, on with the video. What's up, desktoppers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are back with another video, and today we're discussing whether Wesley Vissers can win the Classic Physique Olympia title, or is he better suited to open bodybuilding eventually, because he has discussed that. Now, Wesley Vissers, I want to just firstly say, before I get into any of this, I love his personality. What he does on YouTube is awesome. So if you guys want to follow him, just search Wesley Vissers and you'll be able to find him on YouTube. A very good subscribe option there on YouTube. But let's get into his physique and discuss not just his personality, but let's discuss his actual physique. Now, he competed at the Romania Pro, where he took out the title and looked sensational. I know he was 240 something pounds, which is quite heavy, but I believe he's about 6'1", 6'2" from memory. But let's go through the individual photos that were found on NPC News Online, and then we'll go through a few photos from his Instagram as well. And also I'm going to include a bit of footage in this as well, just so you guys can see, because I think some of these photos compared to the footage is very, very different. So let's go through the photos. So his front double bicep. Now, when you look at this shot, he looks a little bit slapped together. It doesn't look like his physique flows amazing to me. Like, his waist looks quite wide in terms of, it's not a blown out waist or anything in terms of coming out front ways, but just his hip structure and natural structure, his hips are actually quite wide. So that definitely doesn't help him in this division, because they're going for a lot of the guys that have the itty bitty waist and the really small, I suppose, bone structures. And Wesley has, the big rib cage, which definitely helps, and is, Arnold-esque. And he's actually compared to Arnold Schwarzenegger quite a lot. But his waist looks a little bit wide on this shot, but when you actually compare it to some of his other photos, when you look at, just say, this one, for example, that was from his Instagram, it looks a lot different, and it's still from that same lower angle as well. So I don't know which one to believe more of. I mean, I'd probably go for footage a little bit more on this one, but he looks really good, and he looks enormous in this front double bicep compared to the one from the actual NPC News Online photos. Now let's go to the second shot. It's the same sort of deal here. He's got the one hand on the hip and one hand up, and he looks good here. And he's, this is the best condition I've seen Wesley Vissers in, which is really, really good. And plus, he's got the added size too. So this was his best package to date by far, in my opinion. And he kept this very under wraps that he's actually doing this show. And yeah, I think it looks good here, but still the same thing. The waist looks a little bit wide, and maybe if he got even bigger, he might look a little bit better. But let's move on. This side chest, this one's quite closed off, but I've got to say, his legs from the side are really impressive. And you can see he's actually got glutes here as well. And it's actually funny, because with the new Classic Physique trunks, they're almost like posing trunks, then just pulled high, and they're just got a bit thicker band around the waist. So they're close to the old school bodybuilding trunks, which I've got to say I like a lot more. And you get to actually see what these guys' physique looks like. And you can still see the differentiation between the classic physique and the bodybuilding, which I think is important. I wouldn't mind if these guys were actually able to wear colored trunks. I think it would just add a bit more, and I think it would look cool. But you can definitely see from the shape of the trunks which division's which. Now let's go to the back double bicep. Now Wesley has his head a little bit forward here or something. He could be leaning back a little bit more. But I've got to say, from the waist up, his waist doesn't look as wide here, in my opinion. And, he's got very nice shoulders, very good arms. I think it looks good. From the waist down, his knock has bent his legs a little bit, but I think it's really come up. Just from the back though, his sweep on his quads doesn't look as impressive, and his legs look a little slight here, but I've got to give him credit, because his glutes are there, and the lighting in this show is pretty harsh. So while you're seeing these photos and going, oh yeah, he's in okay condition, I think he actually was in a better level of conditioning than these photos actually show. So impressed with his back double bicep. Then he's got this shot as well, the more artistic, I suppose, Arnold-esque sort of pose here as well, which, a lot of people compare him to Arnold. And I think that shot looks really good. He could probably just lean back a little bit more. And then let's get into some of the photos off his Instagram. Now, I love it when Wesley actually does the I suppose, more artistic poses, and maybe, you know, the photos from NPC News Online were actually where he has to come out and hit the shots traditionally. I'm not too sure if he had much, I suppose, you know, freedom in terms of what poses you do in the pro ranks. But let's look at this shot, for example. Now, this is an awesome shot, and this is an actually shot made famous by Arnold Schwarzenegger as well. So I think he's sort of paying tribute there, and he looks absolutely fantastic, in my opinion, in this photo. I don't know if this was from the same show or not, but I think it looks really, really good there. Then you go to the other shots and some other professional photography that was taken from this show, and he looks a hell of a lot better. So look at this, you know, this twisting front double bicep. I think Wesley, I've got to say, he looks awesome when he does a twisting front double bicep. When he does the straight on front double bicep, not as impressive just because of the waist and his structure. But let's look at the side chest. You can actually see this from a better angle where he looks a bit more open on this pose because the photographer was obviously from the side slightly, which I think does advantage him. And his side chest looks super impressive here. I've got to say, like, I don't think many people in the world, based off this photo, are beating him in the side chest in Classic Physique. And this last photo, I love the look of. I'd love to see what it looks like directly front on because we're getting a bit of an angle here, which may make him look a little bit better. But he looks phenomenal hitting this shot. It's a more of a classic artistic sort of side/front tricep pose. So I think that's a great shot for Wesley. Now, the question is, do I think he can win a Classic Physique Olympia title? I've got to say he can, but the percentage chances are low. Like, I'm a guy that loves percentages, so I always think, you know, I don't say 100% he can or 100% he can, but the percentage chances of him actually being able to win it against the current crop and the guys that are coming into the division, I'd say is about 2 to 3% chance. Now, if someone told me I had 2 to 3% chance of winning the Classic Physique Olympia, I'd be stoked. But Wesley Vissers obviously has hopes of doing that. Now, what I think Wesley would be, I suppose, smart to do going forward, his physique would suit a lot more muscle in my opinion. Now, he's got a lot of muscle to begin with here. If he could get up to an open pro bodybuilding level in terms of muscle, he's probably got to add a fair bit, you know, like 20 pounds, maybe 25. I'm not too sure to be like a really competitive pro, but somewhere around that 20 pounds, I reckon he'd become in real competitive. And I just think with his waist, if he creates, you know, more muscle on that upper body, if he gets, you know, even bigger shoulders and bigger back and you know, bigger everything really, he will just fill that out and his waist will not, you know, the front double bicep won't look, I suppose, as blocky. And I hate saying blocky because it's got a very negative connotation, but yeah, it's basically, I think that's the one thing that's holding him back, and also maybe just a little bit more sweep on those legs. If he can do that and then move into open pro bodybuilding, I think this dude can do damage. And I don't know what he's doing, obviously, supplement-wise and all that sort of stuff, but I've got to say, he would be great for pro open bodybuilding. I think that everyone will love his personality more. He'll become more popular. And, you know, who doesn't want to see guys moving into the open? I mean, even Flex Lewis, we see him and what he's doing now and moving into the open. People are excited about that. I mean, some people have sort of forgotten that Flex is going to do that, but he's going to do it, and it's going to be super exciting leading up to it. So I would love to see Wesley Vissers go down that route because, you know, he's got a great physique, and I just love his personality. Now, comparing him to the guys that are in the Classic Physique right now, guys like Breon Ansley, you know, the two-time Classic Physique Olympia champ, Chris Bumstead, the current Classic Physique Olympia champ. Now, Chris Bumstead, you know, you almost can say Wesley compares best to him, but Chris Bumstead has a much smaller waist, and I just think that, you know, 9.5 times or 9.9 times out of 10, Chris Bumstead would always get that nod because he does have the, I'd say, slightly more like aesthetic physique, and Wesley Vissers really has more of an old school physique, which isn't necessarily what they're going for in Classic. You know, they are going for it to a certain extent, but they love the small waist. And it's a modern, I'd say the current criteria is a modern era, I suppose, classic physique, not just so much the 70s classic physique. Other guys that he might compare well to, you got George Peterson. Now, George Peterson isn't he's not known for having a quote unquote classic physique. He's got a small waist, a huge back and everything like that. But people knock him because he doesn't have the traditional tiny itty bitty waist that a lot of these guys have. Now, Wesley might compare very well to George. Now, I think Wesley can place well at the Olympia. He's got a tremendous amount of muscularity. I think he'd be top 5. But to win it, I think it might be a struggle. But if Wesley can place top 5, you know, 4th, 5th, somewhere around there and beat out like a George Peterson, then credit to him. Like, that would be an awesome achievement. But with some of these guys coming up, Danny Union and all these other guys, it's going to be really tough in the classic physique class. But I mean, if you're a top 10 guy in the world, like I think Wesley is, then you can't complain about that. That's awesome. So anyway, guys, shout out of the episode goes to Jared Brody Gretsch. Now, this dude, I actually coached him as well. He lives in the same state as me. A very nice dude. He shares my stuff out on Facebook and everything. So thank you very much. And if you guys want to shout out, comment below. You know, if you're a regular commenter, you will get a shout out, and even ask for one. Just ask for a shout out below and I'll give you one eventually. So thank you so much. I appreciate all the viewers and everything you guys do for me. But anyway, guys, that's it for another video. So for Xavier Wills, Desktop Bodybuilding. Oh, also, like this video if you like this sort of content. Subscribe, hit that notification bell button. That way you'll be notified of every video that goes up for myself, Xavier Wills at Desktop Bodybuilding. Also, hit up redcon1.com. They've got, if you use Black 33, you get 33% off the entire website, which is outrageous. And also, if you spend $50 or more, you get a free gym bag, you get a free hoodie, you get a free shaker. It's just literally outrageous. And the link is in my description as well, just to their website if you want that as well. But anyway, guys, that's it for another video. So for Xavier Wills, Desktop Bodybuilding, we are